Yes. Jackson, let that settle in. How good does it feel?
Feels so good.
Does it really?
It's like when the shower gets just right.
Oh, tell me about that. Vividly describe it to me right now.
Well, like you start the shower, it's obviously going to start cold. The water's going to start cold, but then give it about a minute, and it just hits that perfect temperature, and that water washes over your body. In. Oh, it's just the best feeling, and that's the feeling I'm feeling right now.
Then you go Kevin Spacey to open up American Beauty. It is Balloon Party. It's driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. My name is Timothy Michael McKernan. That's Jackson Bennett Burkett, and I have been vacationing at Jackson's family's home. Actually, I didn't realize you had a series of homes in the Hamptons.
Yeah.
I thought you had one home. But
a lot of
like a compound.
Well, a lot of property popped up around spring 2020, and obviously
you guys capitalized on the market of the common man.
Well, yeah, it was mostly a thing like neighbors were getting a little touchy, like a lot of noise going on, and it's best to just control
the
that.
Joels.
Yeah, well, the Joels, Seinfeld, they're getting a little lippy. So we decided
to... bought their homes.
Well, yeah, but moving eventually. We'll move them eventually. If they want to buy them back, Jerry has my number.
And he may text in the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. So I am back from vacationing. Boy, so much talk about the fact that I've shaved. And Jackson, the reasoning for it is, turns out, even though I had a beard for 2 years, my wife decided to let me know how much she hated it 2 years in.
Yeah. Well, that's usually, you're like, all right, after 2 years, if it hasn't settled in, now's the time to say something.
I don't even know how we were walking up to our room, I guess, last Tuesday, which was her birthday. And she said something very direct, which I appreciate. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea I hated it that much. I go, I can knock this out real quick for you. It's like if you said, I hate that you're 5'2", I go, well, listen, sister, that's kind of, I mean, I am going to go to China ahead of a surgery performed, but that's only going to get me up to 5'9".
Right. And even then.
Exactly. So I said, well, I can actually do something about this. So here I am.
I understand it.
I don't know if you've ever seen me clean shaven.
No, probably the only time you were probably down in Florida, so I wasn't like seeing you face to face. So I've basically only known you certainly in the last 2 years, and I understand why you did it. Obviously, that's.
Oh, so you prefer the beard? That's what I mean. That was an easy read.
Big time.
Really?
Yeah. I think the beard is a great play, and I miss it.
Wow, looks like you and my wife are going to have a little scrap here.
I would understand you saying, siding with your wife, and she doesn't like it, and you're like your co-host.
I disagree with her.
Yeah, I think it's a great look. However, as much as I'd like, you and I are not engaged, so I get that.
You and I are not engaged yet.
Right. Well, the day's still young.
Yeah. For May Sweet, we're going to do a whole bit where Jackson and I start dating. So something to keep an eye on. All right, Jackson, I can't wait to, if we haven't done a show in so many days, I can't wait to see what you have on this Little Piddles weekend wrap-up. I mean, I don't even know what direction you're going to go. I mean, even though we haven't seen each other and done this program in a long time, I mean, are you going to go Blues Predators? I'm taking my 2-year-old to his first Blues game here in like an hour and 50 minutes, and I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, well, noon game.
Yeah, so my 6-year-old is off. My 2-year-old has never been to a game. Somebody called into TMA, Big Al, the great Big Al, who will be also in the building today. Pregame at 11 a.m. here on 101 ESPN for the Blues and Leaves President's Day special. And it said, hey, have him, bring earmuffs or whatever for that horn could freak him out.
Freaks me out. And
I recall taking my, at the time, 4-year-old to a Cardinal Day game. We talked about that in advance, and that would have been August of 22, right here on Balloon Party. And Jackson said, oh, I bet he's going to get scared or something along those lines by the sounds.
Yeah, a little freaked out.
So sure enough, Albert Pujols comes up. Albert Pujols wasn't starting that day, but he came off the bench, hits a grand slam. I've got video of it, which I recorded.
Awesome.
And what happened? He got freaked out by the noise and the fireworks. So in my mind, I'm thinking this is going to be so great. But through the eyes and ears of a 2-year-old, maybe that horn at the game when Sundqvist nets his hat trick.
Hey, Sonny. Yeah. To this day, so it might surprise people to hear, but I was probably 14 or 15 when I went to my first Blues game.
And that's because you thought the Grizzlies were playing.
Yeah. Well, I had messed up. I was probably when they were building Chaffetz, and I thought, the Dayton Flyers were in town or something, taking on the Billikens. But, it was a hockey game instead. Rats. Either way, to this day, when the Blues score and that boat horn goes on, I'm not comfortable. It makes me.
Is that why you cheer against the team and you hope for a shutout because it brings back terrible memories?
It's so damn loud. Like, I understand why you do it. You got to have something. It's all part of the in-game experience. I learned a lot about that in college. However, does it have to be that loud of a horn? It's
part of the atmosphere. It's part of the energy in the building. And these boys are skating pretty well, minus Saturday against Laze Predator.
Yeah, that was a tough game. Either way, I understand it. I get it. It's jarring. I would describe it. It's a jarring sound, and it kind of freaks me out.
Should I bring earmuffs? I don't possess earmuffs.
I don't know. I always think back to like Drew Brees holding his child after the Super Bowl.
Drew Brees' son.
With the headphones on. So I guess something like that. But I don't even know where you get something like that. I have no idea because it's got to fit for a child.
I could bring these things.
Would that fit your 2-year-old son?
One side's further out than the other because the skull thing.
It's like, Dad, why is your head so upside?
Thank you. And he's already asked me that. Those were his first words, actually. Dad, why is your head so lopsided? It was a great moment. We got it on camera. We're sending it out for a Christmas card. All right, text in 314-399-9646. You can participate in the YouTube chat. Great to see everybody in the YouTube chat again. Tiny PP's in there. Roberto De Niro 69 is in there. I hate paper straws. Willie, Austin Avery. Do you pronounce it Jack Scores?
Yeah, I'll say Jack Scores. That's a good name.
I do like that name. Bishing about sports says the boys are greater than the wife. In other words, I should keep the beard.
I don't know. I get why you did it. I'm a fan. I think I'm such a fan of the beard because I cannot grow one. I can grow facial hair. It just looks terrible. Yeah. So I guess I'm jealous of anyone who can grow a beard. So it's like if I had the ability to do so, I would absolutely do it. Yeah. So it's like, But
she said it like shaved 10 years off my age. And I go, I didn't really think I don't know. I don't know.
But you had that kind of grizzled wisdom with the beard, like real backwoods knowledge. And
backwoods. Now, God, you hate people from South St. Louis. You call us backwoods. That's what that was.
I was hanging out with all South City people yesterday.
Where were you?
Played pickup basketball.
Where? Francis Park?
DB Proud.
Wow.
Played some pickup at DB Proud yesterday.
Wow.
That's right. And then...
Wow. Did you go to the Dairy Queen afterwards?
Brazier.
Brazier season.
And then hit Mom's Deli. It was a very South City day.
I went to Mom's Deli yesterday as well.
Really? I'm surprised I didn't see you.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
I really did.
I was there around like 12:45-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to be honest with you. Little hungover, and I texted. I took my older son to his soccer game, and I said, "What are you feeling like, woman?" That's what I said because I'm classy. And I said, "I'm kind of feeling Mom's Deli. If you're up for it, hit Mom's Deli." Oh, about 11:30.
Yeah. I had a little mom special. It was a tasty little day.
She got the mom special. I got the dad. I got on with the dad. I grew up like a mile from there. So I've had plenty of Mom's Deli and LeGrand's. That's where we used to grocery shop. That's where it's like I grew up like during the Cinderella Man era that I'm grocery shopping at a place like that. But that's where we went. It was Binder's Tomboy then, Jackson.
Right.
You wouldn't know that and you wouldn't care anyway because it's not Ledoux.
Well, it still says Tomboy above.
You're damn right it does.
Well, come on. I got knowledge.
Yeah, but you treat South St. Louis a cute little place you visit, to see the people who live down by the river. That's what you do.
Right. Well, I'm trying to become more
roll up the windows like Clark Griswold when you travel through my neighborhood. That's what goes on.
You guys noticing all this plight?
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna donate some canned goods and then play a game at DeBerg while we're down there. That's what yesterday was for the Horton Watkins kids. There's not a doubt in my mind. I know exactly what was going on. All right, we got this Little Piddles weekend wrap up, but it's really a 10-day wrap up. What are you going to go with? I'm anxious to see what the lead is. We'll find out. Jeremy Rutherford's going to join us. Might have to move that up to like 10:42 because I got a rare hard out.
Blues play at noon.
Yeah, and so we got a pregame at 11 o'clock. So that is coming your way. Here it is, Balloon Party, 101 ESPN, and on the 101 ESPN YouTube channel. James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency is my insurance agent. I would love for him to become your insurance agent as well. That might not get you to move on it, and I understand that. How about this one? I got this email. Oh, and I don't have it pulled up. Let me go into my phone, Jackson. Here, watch this. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. That's time kill music. All right, here it is now on my phone. Hope all is well. Had to tell you about my experience with James Carlton. I have 4 cars, #blessed, and 2 drivers under 21. James saved us over $220 a month. Thank you for your wonderful sponsors. That's from Guy. I think it's Zonner. Maybe it's Zanner. I don't know, but either way, that's who sent it. And then he wrote total package with a smiley face. I don't know what that was about, but I just read what's in the teleprompter. Either way, he saved $220 by working with James Carlton per month. You want to annualize that? You want to take a chance and annualize that on the fly, Horton Watkins? Want to do it? I'm giving you 3 seconds.
Can't.
Wow. Nice effort. Way to go into the dirty areas. The answer is 2,640. That's what a Jesuit education would do for you. It's James Carlton, carltoninsurance.net. Welcome back. It's Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you, fresh off of vacationing at Jackson's family's estate in the Hamptons. And it's great to be back here, both on TMA and on Balloon Party. And we would be back on QFTA, which we did every day in the month of January and would do today. But I am taking my wife and my 2 boys to the Blues game at noon. You can catch that game right here on 101 ESPN, pregame at 11 a.m. And someone texted in, Jackson, that they sell those earmuffs for young tykes at the Enterprise Center?
Yep, 314 texted in that they sell Blues earmuffs at the game, specifically for young kids.
God bless.
Which is very smart, both on the Blues part and great for the consumer.
Somehow Jackson has blocked me out of the text inbox, just like you did with TMA. So I can't see the texts. There was another text that you gave me during the commercial break. It was a welcome back text, so that was nice.
Yeah, it was. Had a really crummy weekend, and it's not any better now that you're on. That's from the 314.
Oh, my gosh. No. Do we have any tickets we can give away?
No.
Jackson, it is our first Little Piddles weekend wrap-up in a couple of weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Bennett Burkett.
Hello, everybody. So, not going to leave with the Blues here because we have Jeremy Rutherford coming up.
10:45. I try to get to him earlier. I know you're probably going to detail the NBA All-Star Game in your Sports Center update.
Yeah, you want to talk about wide berth Wednesday. Get out of the way when I do that. But either way, we're going to start off with the Cardinals as they are going to spring training now. They're in the midst of it. Nolan Arenado, audio that we played today on TMA, talking about the veteran infusion to the clubhouse. And he also talked about how younger players somewhat ran the clubhouse last year. Do you think that the veteran leadership is a nice talking point and nothing more? Or do you think that there is a tangible impact? Also, Arenado talking about having something to prove this year. Is that something that you think is needed from the third baseman this season?
Okay, I got two-parter, but it's an overarching thing. I don't know why, and I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but for whatever reason, I am irritated by what the late, great Joe Strauss, his name of Balloon Party, the reason this program is named Balloon Party, he called it Happy Talk. I think that was a Joe Strauss thing. Maybe that's a Bernie Miklasz thing. I don't know. I felt like Happy Talk. It was either Joe or Bernie. I'm just like, stop this, please. I want them to be good. I'm a Cardinal fan. I'm a native St. Louis, and I want them to be good. Don't get me wrong. I don't think if I were down there, I don't think I would be. I was down there last year when Jack Flaherty was portrayed as the key to the Cardinal season. I can recall sitting there going, what in the world is this about? This is scary. If Jack Flaherty is the key to the season, oh, God. So I don't think it matters if I'm in Creve Coeur, Missouri, or Jupiter, Florida. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. And I just feel like there's a lot of happy talk going on. And I suppose what else are you going to do? Be negative?
Right. And spring training is like
it's the epicenter of happy talk.
Big time, yeah.
So I'm sure even the Pirates are going, boy, it's going to be great. We got Aroldis Chapman for the 4 games that we have a lead in the 9th inning.
And he's throwing free and easy.
And he's throwing free and easy. And I'm sure he's really excited about the opportunity to wrap up his career in Pittsburgh. The last stop before you buy a home in Palm Springs.
Get traded for a laundry machine come August.
But with that all said, I can't help but be, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I just feel like my Twitter timeline, now that Ella Reese has gone missing, is flooded with happy talk, and it's bothering me. And I'm bothered by the fact that I'm bothered by it.
There we go.
I understand the people wanting to be optimistic. It's a wonderful place to be. I envy your ability to be optimistic. I suppose I wish I could be that. I don't know if I really mean that. But I can't help but, what are we doing here? This is a middle-of-the-pack National League team that might be able to win the National League Central, which speaks more to the National League Central than it does to the team. And there's just a lot of happy talk.
Yeah.
I guess what it gets down to, if I'm to like psychoanalyze it, I'm irritated by fake BS. That's why I get upset about hashtag content on social media, where it's people doing things for attention. In this case, people doing things for, would you call it, is this engagement farming?
Happy talk can lead to a lot of like bait.
Like bait. God, I'm trying to learn this stuff. I feel like you need to teach a course in this.
And I'm not trying to take shots at anybody.
Oh, Jackson's going to do Radio Wars. What do we got?
I'm really not.
Jackson Burkett's Radio Wars.
I'm really not. But an example of like bait, like a cheap pop. And it's something that I also love seeing it, so I'm in the camp. Is like Willie McGee and Ozzie Smith talking it over at spring training, just hanging out, like a video of that. And granted, like I said, I love seeing it because I love those two ball players. But I mean, that's not those two talking is not going to solve the pitching issues.
A lot of likes.
Bingo.
Okay, I understand. Man, I like this course you're teaching. I'd sign up. So I recall 2014, Waka and Wainwright are throwing a bullpen together. Now I know that sounds, you got to think about 2014 and not 2024 if they were throwing a bullpen. Obviously, it'd be a little weird if Wainwright was doing it, and Waka is now 10 years older himself. But they were coming off of 2013 winning a pennant, and Michael Waka being a revelation
dynamite
toward the end of the season, much less what he did in the NLCS in particular. So with that established, I took a picture of that and I said, here is the reason why I am optimistic for this team's chances in 2014. I suppose it could have been like bait, but it was a visual representation of the reason why I was excited for the team to be a true championship contender. And obviously they were right in the mix. They went to the, National League Championship Series, but they were a really good team too. It wasn't, backing in to a butt-ass Central. So with that all established, I just, for whatever, I can't help. I wish I wasn't. Trust me, I wish I could go, oh, yeah, it's great. I love Jupiter myself. Makes me feel like home when I see pictures from there. But I'm just like, this is the don't, you know what? I can't use the phrase, don't give me manual stimulation.
There you go. Yeah.
I think I can say that. Somebody will check. And if not, it's been a great 2-year run on Balloon Party.
Medical term.
Thank you. Yeah. Is it a medical term?
Sure. Well, if it isn't, it will be now.
Yeah, thank you. So that's how I feel. As far as the leadership thing, you just know, you know the little buttons to push.
Yep. Love it.
I understand. It's, some people are like, well, Arenado and Goldschmidt should be the leaders. You can't make someone a leader, just like you can't make somebody throw 100 miles an hour or have the hand-eye coordination to recognize a slider in a split second. And I realize I know I have told this story probably within this month on the 2004 Cardinals. Who were the leaders? It wasn't Scott Rowland, Albert Pujols, Jim Edmonds, Larry Walker, all of whom I think when it's all said and done will be in the Hall of Fame. It wasn't Chris Carpenter. That doesn't mean they were bad guys or they didn't care. None of that. But the leaders were Mike Matheny and Woody Williams, two guys who will not be in the Hall of Fame. But by the way they carried themselves, those were the guys who were the leaders. And so it isn't just the best players who are leaders. I would imagine you could point out a variety of incredible baseball players who wouldn't necessarily have been leaders, but plenty of baseball players who weren't Hall of Fame candidates who wound up being leaders, clubhouse guys, whatever topic or typecast you want to put on there. So I understand it. I just think that's more spin on, okay, we're trying to get through this weird time with our television contract and we really can't be super aggressive. So we're going to show pictures and reminisce about, when Matt Carpenter was younger and Lance Lynn was younger and fun to have the boys back and do that kind of thing. And honestly, I just find it to be disingenuous. That's my reaction to it. Yeah. I can't help it. I can't help but say that. I can't, because you can have all the leadership in the world. I don't think leadership is really going to matter when you're standing in the batter's box against a guy who's got sick stuff, or when you're, out in the field and you got to hit the cutoff man on the fly to try to, keep a runner in first base with another guy's round in third. I don't know. I suppose to play devil's advocate on it, if a team is in a slump and a leader can get you back on track.
That's where I was going.
But I just don't know. I think what the team misses is a guy with the clubhouse presence of Yadier Molina.
Totally.
Leadership isn't just I'm old. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so that, Yadier Molina had experience, but he also had the credibility, as a guy who under pressure, either late in the regular season or with the NLCS on the line in 2006, he executed at a high level. And I think that's where it comes from. Matheny was a Gold Glove. He wasn't the best player on that team. You had to be pretty damn good to be the best player on the 2004 team, but he was a Gold Glove catcher. And Woody Williams had been sick for a couple of years in St. Louis, as in his stuff was. So, I don't know. I'm a little, for whatever reason, I'm a little irritated by what I'm seeing out of Jupiter this spring at the moment. And I can't help it, but I got to be honest with the audience. That's where I am, Jackson.
God bless.
So you're setting me up to be the bad guy. And I can tell what you're doing, and I think it's dirty pool, especially after you did your little charity mission down to South St. Louis yesterday.
That's right, yeah. Well, that's what I do, This is I pull the strings. If you don't like it.
You're the puppet master.
Yeah, look at me. Look at me. Look at this. Look at that.
Nice. I like that. It's 10:27. I'm going to break to try to keep us on track because Jeremy Rutherford's going to be with us, and I want to have as much time as possible with him. And then we got a hard out at 10:56, and that's because we have Blues Maple Leafs pregame at 11 a.m. Blues and Leafs facing off at noon today. Jeremy Rutherford's going to join us to talk it over. I was really disappointed by that game on Saturday. I don't know how big a game can be in February, but that was kind of a big game, and coming off that great performance against the Oilers, one of their best periods all year against the Oilers, to have that kind of game, it just was disappointing. So your thoughts are welcome. 314-399-9646, and also, of course, in the YouTube chat, where plenty have gathered to talk it over. 126 people are in there talking it over in the YouTube chat. That's 101 ESPN. We'll take a break, come back with more of the Little Piddles Weekend Wrap-Up, then Jeremy Rutherford, and then it's Blues Leafs pregame at 11 a.m., followed by the Blues and Leafs at noon here on President's Day on 101 ESPN. Hey, this is Tim McKernan for the Bath Authority. If your bath or shower is old, outdated, has mold, mildew, or broken tiles, you gotta call my friends at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling products along with a world-class customer experience. Their modern, durable tubs and showers are designed with an exclusive high-tech polymer liner. What that means to you is it'll be low maintenance, resistant to mold and mildew, easy to clean, and last for decades. Plus, comes with a lifetime warranty. Walk-in tubs, replacement showers, tub-to-shower conversions, and more. Every unit's custom built. You pick the premium accents and accessories, including safety features like low-profile showers, grab bars, and shower seats. All Bath Authority products are 100% made in the USA and can be installed in as little as 1 day by certified factory technicians. Call today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. You're their priority at the Bath Authority. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. Schedule your free in-home estimate today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. TheBathAuthority.com. A better bath awaits.
This is Action Jackson with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. A little noon Blues game for fans out there today as they take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Puck dropped at noon, pregame at 11, right here in the home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. And last night, NBA All-Star game. The East All-Stars defeat the West All-Stars 211 to 186, the final score in last night's All-Star festivities. That was another SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Mike Ryder, Jackson, how about that?
Love talking it over with Mike Ryder.
Now he let me back into the Air Comfort Service text line since you have blocked me out.
Ryder.
Yep. So now I can see all the compliments.
Man, we're supposed to be a unified front, brother.
Yep. Another tough stretch of games for the Blues. They sucked us in with winning 8 of 10. I'm afraid the bubble is going to burst. That's from the 314. That's the first text I see.
I mean, a lot of ups and downs in the season. That's kind of par for the course, though.
You'll catch it right here on 101 ESPN today. Pregame starts at 11 o'clock, so we are going to be out at about 10:56. Hard out. Jeremy Rutherford's going to join us in between, but in this segment, it's more of the Little Piddles weekend wrap-up here on Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Accurate, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Jackson, question 2. Go.
Well, I feel... Do we want to go with a quick hitter for the purposes of time?
Gosh, let's produce the show live on the air. No, let's prepare. Let's do a show prep meeting.
Well,
let's do it.
I have a question that might send you down.
Do it. It's fine.
All right,
I haven't had a chance to go down.
All right. Well, we're doing it. Rick Pitino was quoted after their loss to Seton Hall, saying that the first year with St. John's has been the most unenjoyable year of his life, complaining about the facilities and even going after some of the players. Pitino even stepped on my toes by saying it's not just St. John's. You could be at Missouri and recruit slow players. Nice, coach. My question to you is, how do you think fans...
Jackson's representing Tiger Board here today on the show.
As I always do.
I don't think that was a shot at Missouri.
It wasn't at all. It was just like an example. You could have said Indiana, Illinois, and any flyover country state, and it would have been the same thing. My question to you is, how do you think fans, players, and staff react when their coaches are very honest in their assessment and post-game pressers?
Oh, I was wondering where you're going. When you started asking the question, I'm like, oh, this is Jackson's chance to talk Missouri basketball, so I'm going to start looking at my Instagram feed. But then it's a good question, and then it's a good question. You're right. This is one where I could go for 25 minutes. Nicely done. Piss off.
Because go after players.
So I saw Gabe post about this, Gabe DeArmond, Power Mizzou. He was showing Penny Hardaway, who went off after his team lost by 26 to SMU. And here's a guy going off, clearly frustrated, high expectations at Memphis.
Yep.
And then you got Dennis Gates, who is very,
he's a canned answer,
and canned answer. Here is my assessment of it, because I kind of feel like I have to do it in particular with TMA, not necessarily with Balloon Party. Part of managing, the morale of a team is keeping things in the room. I know the audience, and in this case we're talking fan bases, eats that stuff up. It's the proverbial red meat. It's in 2024 with take your pick of whatever social media platform. People will love that, as opposed to the canned answers. It's just very difficult to be blunt and then not have somebody on your team catch some shrapnel,
right? Or
multiple members of your team. One example in college football this year was Pat Narduzzi at Pitt, and it was something along the lines of, they have better players. He aired out his team.
Mark Stoops did something similar, talking about the NIL stuff.
Right, and it's just like, what are you saying about us? You recruited us, and we signed here to play for you, and you're saying we're no good? How do you, so I get fans like that. And then if I'm recruiting against you, I'd go, hey, just so you know, if Coach gets into a couple tough games, he's going to air you out in public. So, as something that I can localize that's been, at this point, I guess about 10 months ago, Ali Marmol calling out Tyler O'Neill's effort individually 5 days into the season after they had just named him starting center fielder. I just thought, listen, I get it, and there may be truth to it. I don't know. All I know is most of the good leaders I have been around, and I'm talking about whether it be in sports or in business, they handle things in the room. And so they will take the crap publicly because the greater good is served by handling it in the room. So, and then you go, okay, Rick Pitino is not like 27, and this isn't his first job.
No.
No. I mean, he's on full-on tilt.
Oh, yeah. He was going nuts.
So that's surprising, and I wonder if he wakes up this morning going, okay, I wish I had that one back.
Yeah,
So in other words, I know Dennis Gates is boring, but I get it.
Right.
I also think Dennis Gates is speaking from hey, I've got this recruiting class coming in next year, so I feel comfortable, even though a lot of coaches in his spot who wouldn't have the recruiting class would be going, oh boy, I might be in trouble here.
Yeah, grasping. Yeah, no, I get that completely. And a guy like Pitino, who's been around the block and obviously has been through the best parts of college basketball and the worst parts of college basketball, much to his own doing on both of them. It's like, I just feel I would, if I'm a player and that's how you feel, then you're gun shy and you're not comfortable ever. And maybe that's how he wants his locker room culture to be, but I know for me personally, that's not something I would want to be around. And calling it the worst year of your life, that's nothing. It just rubs me the wrong way. And granted, it's probably the lowest moment of his year, talking about in a bad place going on tilt like that, but still, you got to have the presence of mind, in my opinion.
We will see what Jim Rutherford has to say after the Blues come off a rough one. Jordan Kyrou, nothing needed to be said. Plenty was said without any words, and that was Jordan Kyrou went from the first line to the second line to the third line, and then late in the game, not playing. That's in a game in which he scored a goal. So that's quite a situation. We'll talk about that with Jeremy Rutherford on the other side of the break. Blues and Leafs today. You never know. Today could be a Jordan Kyrou day where he looks like the second coming in 99.
Hope so.
One every 5 games or so. Maybe today is that day. Jeremy Rutherford joins us next. Then Blues and Leafs pregame at 11 o'clock right here on 101 ESPN. Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, presenting sponsor of Balloon Party on 101 ESPN and the 101 ESPN YouTube channel, and the place I go, my family goes to get our cars serviced. And I really would love for you to experience Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota as well, because once you do, something that could be a real headache when the time comes to get a new or pre-owned car or to get your car serviced is no longer a headache. It's actually something when it happens, I go, you know what, I'm looking forward to texting Jamie Burkhardt or Clayton Patterson or Peter Munganess or talking with Ryan Seiberg in the service store. Just quality people who you can count on. And in life, you need to have a few people in certain industries who you can count on, and certainly the automotive industry is one of those. Well, now we got it taken care of for you. I will say that on air, and I'll say it off air privately. I can't say enough good things about Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Online at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. Welcome back. Balloon Party, 101 ESPN. It's driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, Blues and Leafs taking place right here on 101 ESPN coming up at noon, and the pregame show is going to get underway in 14 minutes as the Blues try to get back on track after a disappointing performance and result on Saturday against the Predators. Here to talk it over with us is the great Jeremy Rutherford. Morning, JR.
Yeah, Mr. Tim, we'll call this the pregame. How about that?
Oh, I like that. And having Jackson Burkett on the pregame for the Blues is more or less an audition from my standpoint.
I'm locked in.
For sure.
Are you really?
Well, I'm here.
Would you rather watch a replay of the NBA All-Star game from last night, which featured sick defense, or today's Blues-Leafs game live?
Can I phone a friend?
Wow. JR, how about that? I think Jamie Rivers is going to come in and have you up against the wall.
Oh, unlikely.
That's what I think is going to happen. Hey, I appreciate you joining us today with the Blues playing at noon. This is certainly timely, but I want to go back to Saturday afternoon. I know it's a game and it's the middle of February, but still, considering the playoff race, considering who they were playing, considering the Blues were coming off a great win that featured one of their most complete periods of the season against the Whalers on Thursday, and considering the Predators were coming off a 9-2 loss, it's kind of the same way I was irritated by the loss to the Blue Jackets before the All-Star break. I'm still carrying a little bitterness over the way things went down on Saturday. What stood out to you about Saturday's festivities against Nashville?
Yeah, I agree, Tim. And, you don't want to go back too far in time. Let's forget, in terms of what I'm about to say, I realize you got to forget about the Columbus loss at some point. But when you look at the big picture here, you're talking about a team that knows its situation, knows that it's in a fight for a playoff spot, and you have a game like you did in Columbus, against Columbus. Then you have a game like Toronto, and I realized the energy was low that game for whatever reason. It was across the team, across the board, did not play well. But then to have another one of those types of games where after the game you have a Torrey Krug saying we just weren't connected and forwards weren't getting back and we weren't playing together. You can have those types of games throughout the season, maybe early in the season, but I don't think you can keep having them once every 4 or 5 games this late in the year with what's on the line. And that's what it keeps coming down to. Every time you see a situation where the Blues okay, they're a wild card team. They can make the playoffs. They're doing the things that they need to do. The power play is getting better. And then you have a clunker like you did the other day. It just seems a little odd to be still talking about that stuff this late in the year.
A variety of topics from Saturday's game, and the one to me that is the most obvious is Jordan Kyrou. And he went from the top line to the second line to the third line, and then the extra attacker was Kevin Hayes. And Blake Bannister, Drew Bannister, saying so much about what his mindset is with Kyrou by not saying anything at all. It's the ice time. And that was damning. And it's just, I feel like one every 5 games, he's going to have a ridiculous game. Today, he might go out and have a hat trick in response. But with regards to Saturday, in a game they need, you want to be talking about what you're getting from Jordan Kyrou in a game like that, a game that clearly was going to play heavy early on, and instead you get him going away. And I can't get away from the topic, and I guess maybe it's because the contract that's associated with it, but also when you see raw talent and then you have a critical game and you get that kind of performance, I don't know. I think that's probably why I'm still a little tilted, even though it's been 48 hours.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree. And, kudos to Drew Bannister for holding him accountable when Jordan Kyrou is playing like that. And, I think he's still a younger guy. I know he's not young, Jordan Kyrou, but he should know better than to disappear the way he does at sometimes. And, Tim, you get to a point with Jordan Kyrou where you say just what you said. Maybe he's going to go off today. Maybe he's going to have a hat trick. But, is the role, is the contract, is the reputation that he should have, is all that worth it, when he's doing it once every 6 games?
Right.
If the other 5 games, you're going to have a situation where you got to consider dropping him down the lineup.
Right.
And I think that's where he's at with Jordan Kyrou. I really do. That's where he's at. And, it's a shame, too, because, I went in the locker room, a couple months ago, and Jake Neighbors had a great game, and we're interviewing Jordan Kyrou. And Jordan Kyrou was asked about Jake Neighbors, and he said he just works his butt off. Every shift you see him, working his tail off. And I couldn't help but sit there and watch Jordan Kyrou utter those words and think to myself, that's what people are looking for from you. Like, can't you see what Jake Neighbors is producing and getting the results because he is working like that, and have some of that rub off on yourself? That's what's going through my mind as I'm listening to Jordan Kyrou. So the talent's there. He scores a hat trick today. He beats the Leafs. Everybody's in love with him. But the other games that he's missing, they can't have that.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I just keep going back to on this, and I don't know what the solution is for the Blues. I don't know why it goes on the way that it goes on, but man, in a game like that, to not have the kind of performance from one of your top guys to the point that he's just has to disappear at the end of the game, and Drew Bannister says, no, thank you, we're going to go with Kevin Hayes. It just speaks volumes. And it's concerning certainly in the short term, but big picture is really more where I'm coming from on it. And I just go, I think this is one that at some point it's just not going to have a happy ending. And I can't help shake that. I'm not saying like there's going to be some big move here in the next couple of weeks before the deadline. I'm not saying that. I just don't feel like that this is a marriage that's going to last. And when you have these kinds of things happen, like Saturday, it says quite a bit.
It's way more concerning big picture because, we're in the here and now, and they're in a retool. And yes, you need him to be a leader like Robert Thomas has.
Yes. Robert
Thomas has had a absolute terrific season. And if Jordan Kyrou is, 10 more goals, and we're not questioning the effort, the consistency on a weekly basis, those are two really good building blocks, as we knew they would be for a few years. But, it's just not there with Kyrou. But not only do you get into, Tim, in the future, if he doesn't turn into that player that you can count on a regular basis, now you're talking $8 million against the cap.
That's the issue, right?
It limits what you can do otherwise in terms of bringing guys in. And also, you're not going to take a guy permanently, an $8 million guy, and put him on the third line. He's got to be in the top six. He's got to be producing. And if he's not, it's going to be hard to move him too. So it's a huge predicament, big picture.
Yes, that's why I take a little bit more away from Saturday than just a bad performance from the team, again, in a game that they really could have used. So with that all established, JR, they get a chance to quickly turn it around and taking on another team that would be in the playoffs if the Stanley Cup playoffs got underway today. They just saw them last week. You made reference earlier in our conversation to what was a disappointing performance in Toronto. What are you anticipating as far as trying to alter that performance today, whether it be from Bannister's lineup moves or from the Blues trying to counter what the Leafs were successful with against them last week?
Yeah, it looks like it'll be Joel Hofer in net for this noon puck drop, and they got the lineup out. I think this is a team. It feels like it's a situation, Tim, where it's it's game by game. Okay, did they play poorly last time? Are they trying to bounce back, or is this an Edmonton win over Edmonton where you're feeling good about your game? Well, this is a situation you're coming off a loss to Nashville, a bad loss. That Nashville team, Tim, 6 straight games they allowed 4 more goals.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it's concerning. And the Blues, even though 37 shots on net, they need to shoot the puck. And why is a team in this situation being asked to shoot the puck in the situations where they could produce against a team that had given up a lot of goals? So, now they're in a situation where you're looking for that bounce back effort. And then the sub headline is, oh, by the way, you just lost this a week ago and, didn't have your legs. And after the game, your captain was talking about maybe we took them a little lightly without Mitch Marner, without John Tavares, and without Riley. And so you come out and, reestablish yourself, I suppose, is what they're talking about in the locker room before the game, just to go and get their game back. It just can't be a situation where they're continuing to talk like they were after the Nashville game about not being connected. I mean, it's laying right in front of them. There's single-digit games left before the trade deadline. And then also after this one, they're going to play 8 of their next 9 on the road, and that takes them to the trade deadline. So, it's a pretty good challenge here coming up. And, I hate to keep talking about shaking off these losses because there's been a few of them here lately, but they're going to stay in this wild card race. That's what they have to do.
Jeremy Rutherford, he's with us throughout the week here on 101 ESPN on Wednesdays on TMA. Blues, Leafs, noon right here on 101 ESPN. Thank you, JR.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, man, there it is. And we got to go because the Blues and Leafs pregame show is coming your way here in a matter of moments right on 101 ESPN. For Jackson Burkett, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN.